Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What's up? What's up? Today we'll be doing a real world review on the Ruger LCP Max. All right, the LCP Max is a micro compact chambered in 380 caliber. All right, it is actually the lightest, highest capacity, smallest micro that you can buy on the market. They did an outstanding job with this. All right. There's a few little things that, needed to be tweaked, but that's almost every firearm. Okay. No matter whether you got hands like a kangaroo, little small hands, or you got orangutan hands, it'll work out just fine for you. The reason why I say that is because even for larger hands, now without the whole grip, it's wider than the LCP2 and the LCP. They had to make room for the rounds. So it's double stack magazine. And then it bottlenecks at the top. 10 rounds plus one. Now, if the height still isn't enough, all right, then you can step up to 12 round extended magazine aftermarket. All right. But it does come with the pinky extension. Okay. Also comes with a pocket holster. All right. So I think I'll definitely be getting the 12 round magazine. So I'll update you guys. You'll see the video when I get it. Okay. Now, it's also, as you know, for those LCP and LCP2 graduates, all right, that want to step up to the next evolution in micro compact by Ruger. This is awesome. This is the best LCP yet. Hands down. All right. Especially once you work out the little minor issues, which we'll get into in a second. All right. So, but definitely for those 007s out there who want to be, inconspicuous with their firearm, no matter whether you're wearing formal attire, informal, fitted, baggy, gym shorts, sweatpants, a bikini. No, I'm just tripping. But yeah, it works out in any concealment configuration. Okay. Now let's jump into it. So slide length comes in at a whopping 5 inches. That's right, guys. Only 5 inches. And not that it matters, but overall length is 5.2. All right. Height with the pinky extension, 4.25. So, of course, with a 5-inch slide length, the sight radius as it stands with these sights is 3.5 inches. All right, guys. So that's why I am going to say that this is for an experienced shooter. Okay. Because there's not a lot of wiggle room, meaning any slight movement or you fidgeting with your grip while you're shooting, ever so slightly, it's going to throw the bullet off even more than if you had a longer grip and a longer barrel. Okay. Now, if you're a novice shooter or intermediate shooter, you can actually dial it in. You just have to go to the range with it, shoot a lot of rounds, break it in. All right. Get it broken in and shoot some of the rounds that you're going to carry, your self-defense rounds, and just get used to it. Okay. And you'll be fine. All right. You can go ahead and just get some practice in and everything will be great. All right. So that's what I'll say about that. All right. So don't let that deter you, in your thought process of purchasing one. Now, one thing that I did notice at the range is I shoot these guns, these little small, tiny guns like this. I shoot them one-handed most of the time. I'll do a couple drills in the range where I shoot two-handed, but very rarely. 380 doesn't have a lot of kick recoil anyway. So most of the time, it feels like a toy. So most of the time, if something happens, I know myself, I'll shoot it out. I'll shoot it with one hand, So one thing I noticed with that is that you do feel the slide. It does feel like it's beating up the gun. All right. Maybe not so, but that's at least how it feels in my mind. All right. It's not really tremendous, but definitely want to change that recoil spring. I looked it up online. They make a 13-pound outer recoil spring, so definitely will be installing that. All right. And as you can see, I put the whole grip on. Okay. I have huge hands, as you can see. And it was just hard for me to just get a good, comfortable grip, even though they made this one wider. So I know I wouldn't be able to shoot a LCP or LCP2. But it was just hard for me to get a good purchase on the gun. So with this whole grip, it dialed it in nicely, made everything perfect. That finger groove helps you keep that muzzle flip down. So it flattened out everything and worked out pretty good. So I can't wait until I order that 13-pound outer recoil spring. All right. But aside from that, under the grip, the texture is nice. I have sensitive skin, but it didn't bother me. I carried it for a little while without the whole grip, and you know, it didn't feel too bad. All right. So I think a lot of you will like the gun, and most people probably won't even put a grip on it. But as you can see here, also the main thing, so the trigger. Factory trigger has a long take up. Now this is a short stroke trigger, aftermarket, right? The factory trigger probably comes way out to here. And then it's a short, long, light take up. All right, long stroke. So the stock trigger has a longer stroke than a Chevy big block V8. It's ridiculous, seriously. All right. But once you hit that wall, you get a nice clean break, 4 pounds, 10 ounces, which is not bad. I was surprised. All right. And then after you shoot it for a while and, you clean and oil the gun, it'll get even lighter than that. All right. So just break it in 100, 200 rounds and you'll be good to go. Make sure you do carry your self-defense rounds to range and shoot some of those just to make sure it will cycle those just fine. All right. Another thing that I seen online, I didn't have a problem with this, but they said that the gun sometimes won't go all the way in the battery. Like it'll be like this, it'll get hung up like that sometimes. All right. I don't have that problem. But again, I haven't put 500 rounds through it yet. So I'm not even going to wait to try to experience it. I'm going to go ahead and get that 13-pound outer recoil spring. Okay. Jump into the sight. So stock sights, rear serrated, blacked out in the rear, front tritium green with the white outline. All right. Has a little shelf here. In case one-handed operation, you need to rack on something sharp. You can definitely do so in an emergency. All right. Slide serrations. They start off and then go at a more aggressive angle. That's pretty neat. All right, front and rear. What's neat is it also flares out. Has this little tab on both sides. So you can get a good grip without slipping off. All right. And I think the slide width is somewhere around 0.85 or 0.87, something like that. All right. Now, my favorite thing that I like about the LCP Max. So as you can see, has a pretty nice length on the extractor there, but you can actually load around through the open chamber. All right. Now with Glock, this is not recommended because the extractor, the tooth on the extractor is so thin, sometimes it breaks off. All right. But if you're in an emergency situation and that's what you need to do, then go ahead and do it. That could be the difference in, life and death. All right. But with the Ruger LCP Max, you can load it right through the open chamber. I love that because you're going to fill up the magazine, and when you fill up the magazine, I don't want to take it back out all the time, and then load another bullet in and then put the magazine back in, that kind of thing. So basically what I do is I just start off with, I drop one right in the top, let off pressure, and have my loaded magazine, and then go ahead and insert it, and then you can go on about your business. All right. So that's pretty cool. All right. Also, you have a window here. So you can see that bullet. When you have a bullet in there, you can see whether you load it or not. So that's pretty neat. All right. Nice aggressive look to a small firearm. Looks really nice. They did a good job with this. Okay. So now we'll get into slide release. It's a little bit further back than you would expect, but didn't have any problems in operation. I think it's better that they did that, so that way, because of the gun being so small, your thumb doesn't accidentally, hit that and jam you up there, So it didn't bother me. Worked out pretty good. It's metal of some sort. Has a nice little finish on it. Hasn't faded or anything yet. I know my screwdriver is magnetic, so it stuck to it earlier when I had it just laying down on the bench here. But that's how I found out that it was metal. But yeah, it's pretty neat. It looks like a little toy, but it's definitely not. It's a pocket cannon all the way. All right. Nice grooves on the front. Magazine release. Don't have to change my grip too much, just slightly. All right. Had my finger in the way, but it'll shoot right out of there. All right, so that's pretty neat. And then once I installed the whole grip, it didn't interfere with it. Anyway, and I don't know if some of you guys can see, but see that little bump right there made into the bottom of the trigger guard. All right. That's your overstop travel. So it keeps the trigger from going past a certain point. All right. Now with the short stroke trigger here, it barely comes to the overstop travel. With the stock trigger, it definitely presses into it. But the trigger is neat. Takes out a lot of that slop. And if you think this is a long take up, you should see that stock trigger. It's outrageous. But nevertheless, all right, get same texturing that's under this whole grip. All right, you also get it on the front of the pinky extension. Nice little design, Ruger logo on the bottom of the pinky extension. And I did do a video showing you guys how to put the pinky extension on, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't. And I will be doing videos on the 12-round magazine when it comes in, and also the 13-pound outer recoil spring. All right, don't know what I'm gonna name the video yet, but stay tuned for that as well. All right, so back into it. Now, finishing up, when I was at the range, I first shot 88 grain, okay, and then I ended with 92 grain. I would say stay under 95 grains. All right, try to get the lightest, fastest round that you can get. So you want to stay above, for self-defense, you want to stay above 1,100 feet per second. All right, that should put you at about 12 inches or more in penetration. Okay, so they got a lot of ammo out there, 68 grain, even lower than that. That's flying, pretty fast rounds. So try to keep it down. That way, if you are shooting one-handed, the gun doesn't keep climbing on you, okay, and you miss your target. All right, so the moment you've been waiting for. Where does the LCP max rate on the push your balls in scale? That's a rough one. I got to think about this. This gun is tiny. Since there are guns out there that's smaller than this, here's what we'll do. The LCP max comes in with 1 star on the push your balls in scale. All right. Now remember, this is only for appendix carry. This is a scale that judges appendix carry, the 12 o'clock position in the dead front. All right. And the reason why I say 1 star, now remember, it's 1 through 5 is the rating. Okay. With 5 being the most ball pushing. All right. It's just a tiny gun. When you have the holster in, it's not even ball pushing. It's like ball hair pushing. So we got 1 star there on the scale. Now, very reliable. I didn't have any problems, any jams. I didn't have any misfeeds. I didn't have any failure to go in the back. I didn't have any of that stuff. No, not locking back on the last round. Like I had everything work flawlessly. All right. Mine locked back on the last every time. No jams whatsoever. All right. So very good, very reliable. And also, I also recommend oiling any firearm, before you shoot it. So I always put a little light dab of oil on mine before I go to the range, especially for the first time. All right, so you guys might want to try that out. All right. A lot of people like the Bodyguard, Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. This has way more rounds than the Bodyguard. All right. But it takes the Bodyguard sights. So any sights that'll work on the Bodyguard will fit on your LCP Max. All right. So that's a plus. All right. And then they'll probably be coming out with a lot more accessories, hopefully, for this. All right. They don't have a ton now, but they do have a few options out there for it. So I definitely will look into it in the next day or so and have those videos coming. Okay. Like I said once before, you do get the 12 round magazine. That'll give you 12 plus 1. So that'll give you 13 rounds in the LCP Max. It's outstanding. I cannot believe it. It is great. Once I seen this gun, I was like, I had to get it, you know. So, in closing, all right, slide release works great. Mag release works great. You can load through an open chamber. Very light firearm, high capacity. You can put it in your pocket. You can put it in your swimming trunks. You can go swimming with it. It is very, very light. There's no reason that you should not be carrying something, especially with the gun like this. All right. You definitely forget that you're carrying it. Okay. So just remember, guys, take it to the range, get some practice in. See you next time.